Hi, this is Sandi Maki with a little bit of heavy breathing just before midnight and sometimes in the middle of the day. Today I want to talk about connections, the connection that we have to other people that are sharing this experience here on Earth. I just came from a memorial service for a friend. And this was a unique and interesting friend whose human life was cut short earlier this month. And whether or not our human experience ceases to exist, we've still had connections with people all along the journey. And I had the privilege of sitting with a number of people that this individual had connections with. And I can't tell you why I was compelled to show up. And I can't tell you why Al Curtis was compelled to show up. But I know that we did. And I know that most of the time when we feel compelled to show up, it's not about us. It's about showing up, and it's about holding space for other people. And if you know what that means, that's great. And if you don't know what that means, that's okay too. Sometimes all that's required of our human selves, and it's not even required, sometimes all that we can do is show up. And when you show up, you bring yourself with you, and as I've been putting it lately, you show up and twinkle, or you show up and smile, or you just show up, because showing up means a lot to the people that we have a human connection with. A lot of people don't take the time to show up, and I don't know why that is. I don't know why we go through our lives and we hear that this happened over here or this happened over here, and we just stay home or we do something else. If you start listening to what you're drawn to do or what you're called to do, then you know when the right time is to show up. And yeah, sometimes you're not meant to. Sometimes staying home is just as perfect as if you were to go. But if you ever have that question in your mind, if you ever hear of something and you think, oh, that's probably something that would be worth my being at. You don't know if it'll be worth your while or worth someone else's while, but it doesn't matter. I encourage you to honor those feelings as they come up, because we often don't know why they come up, and we don't know when we get somewhere if it'll feel good or if it'll be boring or if it'll be exciting. You don't have to know, because you know that if you show up, it'll be perfect. And maybe all that's needed is your twinkling, smiling presence to be there. So this afternoon, I spent an afternoon of being in the moment, of showing up, and not having a cause behind it or a reason other than it just felt right and it felt good. And not to add any, superficialness to the experience that I had this afternoon, but there was a service, and it was a remembrance service for an individual whose time in their human self was cut short. And the service that was given was brilliant, and I wish that I had had my camera out recording it, because there were so many profound things that made such a good point during this service. Our human selves are here having this experience, but really we're spiritual beings behind it. And those spiritual beings are the ones that know more than we pay attention to. We let our mind get in the way. We let our analytic brain get in the way, which is probably why there's been a few days lapsing in between my last heavy breathing and this one. I was letting my human self go through this analytic loop of, what do I have to talk about? Is it going to be interesting enough? What's that all about? One of the most profound things that was shared in the service today was that this individual whose time was cut short was a gift to everyone, and he realized his gifts to everyone. And the one gift that he missed in the last moments where it mattered in this lifetime for him was his gift of himself. So take a minute and think about yourself and the fact that you are a gift to everyone that you encounter. And then listen, because sometimes things come across your email or that you hear about or in a roundabout way sound interesting. And some of those things it's important to show up for. Show up without expectation, show up without knowing what it means, but just show up. Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And in this human experience, sometimes showing up is what counts. Until next time, remember that you are special and that we are counting on you to show up in twinkles sometimes, because it makes the world a better place.